Hello everyone, welcome. Happy Easter. It's always one of my favorite times, especially in the coming weeks, but also the weeks that have led up to Easter. So I want you to keep in mind 4 words, and I'll touch into what it means practically for us. Dying and rising. You hear it again. Dying and rising, death and resurrection. They go together. You can't separate them. If you separate them, it just doesn't work anymore. It loses the ability to bring you to places inside yourself you would not normally go yourself. So let's look at first the whole issue of dying and rising. What does dying mean practically for us? It means that I have to look at every piece of reality, myself, others, all of life, whatever it may be. I have to look at it with a different kind of a lens. The culture says, use it for your betterment. What the gospel says is no. Put no expectations on anything. Anything. Any relationships, anything that's happened in your life, your job, or whatever it may be, no expectations. Because as you have an expectation, it means that you're loving someone or something in order to get something from it. And you're disappointed when that doesn't deliver. So it's the whole movement of trying to get to a point where, yes, I'm going to enter into life the fullest I can, jump right in the pool, I say, but I'm not going to have any expectations of what it's going to do for me or not do for me. Because what we're looking at is, as long as I have expectations, and I'm not saying no to them, my love is always tainted. My love of life, my love of others, my love of whatever is not pure unitive love. And so what happens when we love with expectations, and sometimes those expectations become serious attachments, and it's all about who we are, not about what you're doing, how you're relating to a person. It's all about what's going on inside of you. So the question is, how do I get there? And that's the dying to the self. And if I open my heart in a much greater way to begin to look at it, and that is a very tough journey. It takes your whole life and your whole spiritual journey to begin to even get a little close to that. Because as humans, because we are broken, we always put expectations on whatever. And we also make it an attachment oftentimes. So what the movement is dying. And if we do that, what happens in the rising is we'll be able to love at a much deeper way. Our love will begin to be transformed into a greater power to change other people's lives because it becomes pure. And that's what God wants of us, to be able to love others as He has loved us, with pure, unconditional love, with no expectations. So the dying and the rising. And if you choose to say, well, I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to love the way I'm going to do, I'll do my thing, and I'll put my expectations, I'll hold on to my attachments. That means when all of a sudden it responds the wrong way, or the attachment is taken from you, you're going to really suffer. You're really going to have to deal with things you prefer not to deal with. Because when you get to a point in life where you say, it is what it is, and I stand in this moment. I have no expectation of God. I have no expectation of anyone. I just stand in this moment to love as pure as possible. And that moment will transform your life and transform the lives of all creation too. It has that kind of power. So it's dying and is rising. As we looked at the question of dying and rising, we see that this is what Jesus did, and He's a model for us, how He stood in that. how he was able to do what he had to do with no expectations and to trust very deeply in God, even though at times he went through things that you just can't even imagine. So that piece there, Jesus is showing us concretely. And then what does he show on Easter? He shows death and resurrection, that there truly is life, unitive love in God and all that is. And as we begin to understand that, then we have a new understanding of death and resurrection. Because what that means very simply is what? That as I learn to love, and my love becomes more unitive, no matter what I am dealing with, I open my heart in a much greater way. And just as that love, and as I stand in that whole question of death, that I don't hold on to anything. I love, yes, deeply, but I don't hold on to anything. Then when I have to move through some serious and even in dying, I'm not holding on to anything. I'm not fighting to keep it going. I'm able to surrender deeply into it, trusting God. And in that process, my life will be transformed. Resurrection. And you know what you will know by going through that process of dying and rising, death and resurrection later on in your life? You will not doubt that there is life beyond the grave, a fuller life, a greater life, a greater unitive experience with your God. That he will open his heart in ways you can't even imagine, and he will just let you be loved at the very core of who you are. Never expecting anything from you, but just loving you. Again, have a great Easter. Remember the 4 words: dying and rising, death and resurrection. Keep these 4 words as you march through the Easter season till Pentecost. And then at Pentecost, say to the Lord, may I have your grace, please, so I can begin dying to self, so I can live and love more deeper and freer. Happy Easter, and so good to share some thoughts with you.